into the unknown, into the unseen, the unexplainable, and the unbelievable. Join our strange journeys. Are you ready? And here we go again. And if you're watching, you can see I'm all by myself today, solo. Some technical difficulties, some couldn't make it. So I hope it won't be boring, be like some of those podcasts you listen to with just one guy talking and carrying on. So hopefully I can make it interesting for you. But I want you to remember that we provide these shows first and foremost for the watchers, those of you that are watching, for your entertainment. We are not by any means and do not claim to be scholars or experts in the topics we cover. We are simply enthusiasts and storytellers who have fun with these topics while respecting individual beliefs. And please remember that we are live and nothing is rehearsed or edited out later. What you see is what you get. So because I'm by myself today, we're going to do things a little different. We are going to go right into the show. To the strange sightings. That's where we're going to start. And I want to see what you think about this.
Look at this thing. It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
Now, that video was just released yesterday by CNN, talking about some of the latest sightings that have been released by the government, the U.S. government, believe it or not. And, they're bringing up these unusual sightings that they've had. And these are some of the pictures of the things that they have. This is on file with the government at the Pentagon. It's things that they're actually investigating right now. And this is what they've seen. They call this one, I think that's the pyramid, isn't it? Yeah, that's the pyramid and that's the sphere. That's what they were calling these. And this is the metallic blimp. I couldn't get a closer one. And this is the triangle that they have seen and just recently released these to the public. That one's kind of hard to see, but go back and look at these again. As I was researching these this morning, somebody had found a Batman balloon that was shaped like that, but I think this was a little bigger than a Mylar balloon. But the sphere actually looks like a balloon to me, but who knows? But the government is just releasing these. And I mean, I've said it before, if something is invading our space, I do want our military looking into it. Please check this out. What if it is a foreign government, an enemy government, using drones or something to spy on us? I want the government, and all the years of denial just didn't make sense to me. They did Project Blue Book and the Majestic 12 and all these different organizations that were secretive, but to the public, they would deny, say it was swamp gas or a weather balloon and that kind of thing. But, to the public, they would deny everything, but while they were secretly investigating, which, again, I wish they'd come right out and said, yes, we're investigating this, because they should be. I'm not saying that they need to investigate aliens or extraterrestrials. I'm saying they need to investigate these things that's flying in our air. I mean, granted, what if they are extraterrestrial? Then maybe we can learn from them. And they say that when they do investigate, it's a matter of national defense, and I don't have a problem with that. But one documentary I was watching called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, I believe was the name of it. They were saying that the military saying this is trying to feed us all fear that this is all, if it is extraterrestrials, they could attack at any time and this kind of thing. But if we've been seeing them, just say the modern era since 1947, then why haven't they done anything? They've abducted some people, if you believe that then, but why haven't they attacked? If they're evil and, working on taking over the world. And people have an answer to that, saying, well, they're just working their way in, whatever. But anyway, that's our strange sightings file video for this week. And if you got any questions or comments, let me know. And I want to know what you think about it so that you can give your insight, because I don't have all the answers. That's why we do this show, because we're still looking for answers, all of us. So that strange sightings file video will be available on Patreon. And if you're a member there, you can see it. If not, you can join for as little as $3 a month. While we're talking about Patreon, where'd it go? Oop, there it is. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like the video, please subscribe and sign up for notifications. All right. We'd certainly appreciate that. And share the videos while you're at it. On our YouTube page, we have a whole playlist of our sponsors. We call them our sponsors, but basically we're helping them. They're people that have been involved with the show, in one form or another. So we made little ads, videos for them to support them for their help with us. And it reminded me while I was watching the YouTube and Patreon videos how I kind of they got, today I was going to be talking about the boom booms, and they've got, the loud, hard hitting bass. And so it's kind of a lead in, I guess, to this. And so while I'm at it, like I said, I'm going to try to keep it interesting. I hope I'm not too boring for those of you that are watching. I'm going to go over this information. We've spent a couple of weeks digging into this, and it's, there's my wife. Hey, my beautiful wife, Lynn, has joined us. So we're going to get right into the show, and hopefully you'll stick with us.
Also tonight, another loud boom heard on the Gulf Coast, this time in Clark County.
New at 10, a mystery in Mesa. At least one neighborhood worried the loud bangs they've been hearing for weeks.
Well, tonight, the mystery everybody's talking about here along the Gulf Coast. What was that loud boom that shook houses all across our area? Well, tonight.
This is a breaking news update from Wavy News 10. I'm Tom Shad.
And I'm Anita Blanton. Tonight we are investigating reports of a loud boom heard across the area. Many of you have been reaching out to us on our phone lines here and on social media, reporting hearing and feeling the noise from Southern Virginia Beach.
Switching gears and back here at home, a big boom mystery to talk about here. A lot of you heard it or felt it in South Charlotte today. It was some sort of loud explosion that happened around 11 o'clock in the morning.
It's all about the boom boom. A loud sound reminiscent of a sonic boom, ordnance explosion, or massive fireworks display has been heard in locations around the country and around the world, sometimes accompanied by a flash of light, sometimes several booms in a row. Phone calls are made to local authorities and media outlets. Posts are made on social media. Witnesses stating that they've heard a loud sound. Some saw a flash of light, and others commented that their house shook, objects fell, and windows or mirrors were broken or cracked. While in a few cases, individuals have come forward claiming responsibility for these sounds, like Telluride, and, back when I was a kid, it was M80s. But in most instances, no one can determine the cause. Military in the bases declaim that they have had no flyovers. Meteorologists say that there's been nothing in the weather that could cause these sounds. And geologists are declaring that there's been no seismic activity. News outlets and officials have investigated. Go do a search on YouTube and you'll see how prevalent these booms have become. So what could it be? Join our strange journeys into these mysterious booms. I was telling Lynn earlier this morning that a few years ago, I had come across these booms, had experienced some where we live in South Alabama, and I could only find one or two. And when we started the show back last year, I was going to do a show on the booms, but could only find two or three. But as we began to prepare for this one, I found tons of them. I mean, they came in all over the place. Now, why did I title this show, It's All About the Boom Boom? Mainly because we're from the Mobile, Alabama area, and we have a thing here called Mardi Gras. You may have heard of it. It started here. Some people say as early as 1703. French soldiers were dancing around the campfire, singing Laissez le bon temps rouler and celebrating Mardi Gras. I don't know. But officially, Mobile has claimed to the originator of Mardi Gras, but that's what they call it down here. They call it the Boom Boom, and here's why. And that's what you hear at a Mardi Gras parade is boom, boom, all over the place. But we're talking about these mysterious booms in the sky, or skyquakes, as some have called them. Now, Wikipedia defines it as a phenomenon where a loud cannon, trumpet, or sonic boom sound is reported to originate from the sky. The sound can produce shock waves that vibrate a building or particular area. They've been heard in locations around the world, including the banks of the river Ganges, Marwari village in Himachal Pradesh, the East Coast in England, Finger Lakes of the United States, the Magic Valley in south central Idaho of the United States, Colombia, southern Canada, as well as areas of the North Sea, Japan, Australia, Italy. Oh, the list goes on and on, folks. The Netherlands, the UK, Brazil, Mexico, around the world. And some as recent as in the last few days. Let me see if I can find that one. Where was that one? Yeah, this was WCNC in Charlotte. Where'd that go? I think this is it. Yeah.
Switching gears and back here at home, a big boom mystery to talk about here. A lot of you heard it or felt it in South Charlotte today. It was some sort of loud explosion that happened around 11 o'clock in the morning. Now, we don't have a lot of details. We don't know the source of it quite yet, but we do know that Charlotte Fire actually reached out to our chief meteorologist, Brad Panovich, saying that they were getting flooded with 911 calls and folks asking if this was an earthquake. Now, Brad confirms it was not an earthquake, but actually 3 seismographs picked up whatever event this was. And as we mentioned, folks were feeling it as well. The shaking was so bad over at Myers Park High School. Students and staff could feel it. Administrators sending an audio message saying that they heard it, but it was nothing to worry about. Charlotte Fire tells us also that they could not locate the source of the boom. So the mystery continues. Of course, we'll keep you updated. We did send out a push alert as soon as folks heard that boom today, courtesy of our WCNC Charlotte News app. So don't forget, you can download it for free and just stay up to date on all the very latest happenings.
Okay, I didn't, edit out their little promo there at the end. So if you want to download their app, that's your business. But I do want to give them full credit. That was WCNC in Charlotte. But this was just from April the 15th, 2 days ago. They're hearing these booms. And it's been heard here in Mobile several times. Let's see. Where's it at? And this one was a pretty recent.
Also tonight, another loud boom heard on the Gulf Coast, this time in Clark County. Residents from Jackson to Thomasville describing what it was like tonight. One emailer says, "I've just heard a big boom. It shook my house, even knocked pictures down from my wall. A lot of other people have too." Another one reads, "It has shaken my daughter's house in the McVeigh community north of Jackson." Officials say low-flying jets have been circling tonight, and they may be responsible for that noise.
Now, this one, let's see, that one in Clark County was just a few months ago, February 9th, 2021. And the one that basically got me wanting to do this show was this one, I believe, from January 24th, 2020. just before, a few months before we started this show.
Well, tonight, the mystery everybody's talking about here along the Gulf Coast. What was that loud boom that shook houses all across our area? Well, tonight, there are all kinds of theories as to what caused the commotion. Folks all across the Gulf Coast took to social media to report the big boom. Bay Minette to Irvington, West Mobile, even over to Pascagoula. Some say it shook their homes. Some just heard a loud sound. Others said they didn't feel a thing. A seismogram from Bruton shows the shaking associated with the event. A seismograph at the University of South Alabama picked it up as well.
And right here is after 2 o'clock. Just after 2 o'clock, it's about 2:03, maybe about 30 seconds after 2:03. There's a little impulse right there, and then it immediately stops. So there's no lingering vibration or anything like that. So there was some sort of event that triggered some shaking of the ground.
NBC 15 checked with dispatchers in Mobile and Baldwin counties, as well as the Air Force, Coast Guard, and NASA. No one would tell us what happened. We asked the FAA if they had any information. A spokesperson told us to contact the military, saying the FAA doesn't comment on military flights. So far, no agency is claiming knowledge about the loud noise. We've seen several posts on social media with guesses about the noise. Many people think it was some kind of sonic boom, the sound when an object breaks the sound barrier. There was a rocket engine test at Stennis Space Center on the Mississippi Gulf Coast today, but it was hours after the event here. SpaceX launched a satellite from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, but that was 45 minutes after the boom was heard here. NASA has recently been testing flight maneuvers to create quieter sonic booms. Those tests are around the Galveston area, hundreds of miles from here. But we can't rule out that possibility. Others pointed to an earthquake that happened around the same time. That was a magnitude 6.3 quake in the South Sandwich Islands on the other side of the world, closer to Antarctica than the Gulf Coast. So did you hear or feel the big boom this afternoon? Do you have an idea what it is? We want to hear from you. Leave your comments on this story at facebook.com/mynbc15.
All right. I'm sorry. That was the report from November 15th, 2018 on MyNBC 15. This was the one from January of last year that got me started wanting to do a show on it, where they actually broke in live when this happened, and they're standing in the newsroom. It's not part of a newscast, and this was the one from January 24th of last year.
Hi, everybody. Bill Riles, WKRG News 5. We are following reports of a loud boom in the West Mobile County area. This boom heard from the Grand Bay, Theodore to Tillman's Corner area, all the way into Spring Hill Avenue in Mobile, and as far as Loosedale in Mississippi. So we're trying to track down exactly what it was. At this point, we checked the USGS, U.S. Geological Survey website. We do know earthquake has not been reported there. We've taken several calls, though. One lady on Highway 188 in Grand Bay called, said her whole house shook. Devin, you took some calls, too.
Yeah, in fact, I just had a friend text me from the Spring Hill area of Mobile that she felt it as well. I talked to a guy who lives, and I'm writing up the story for the web right now, who lives in Wilmer in the Timberland North subdivision. He said that the house started shaking for 3 or 4 seconds. He thought maybe the washing machine was off balance, you know, when it starts shaking like that.
Yeah.
So his wife said, well, is it the wind? So he goes outside, he checks the trees, there's no wind, it's a sunny day. So nobody really knows what this is, and that's what we're trying to figure out at this point. The phones have been ringing, the emails are coming in, the texts are coming in. We've got to figure out what this
Here's the
is.
phone. Now, one possibility that we've thought of, and that is that it could be a sonic boom. It's not unprecedented that some military planes out over the Gulf of Mexico have sort of put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, and that creates a sonic boom. So we're going to investigate that. We'll find out, to turn over every avenue to try to find out what this loud boom was. For now, Bill Riles.
And Devin Walsh.
I think it's interesting that they checked with the United States Geological Survey. And then the previous video from NBC 15 had talked to the seismologists at the university. And even though there was no, I guess you could say, no earthquake activity or no seismic activity, the one guy said there was an event that shook the earth. And so something happened. And then, let's see, Wavy TV in Virginia Beach, Virginia on April 29th, 2019.
This is a breaking news update from Wavy News 10. I'm Tom Shad.
And I'm Anita Blanton. Tonight we are investigating reports of a loud boom heard across the area. Many of you have been reaching out to us on our phone lines here and on social media, reporting hearing and feeling the noise from southern Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, even Suffolk and Norfolk.
Now, this happened at around 6:30 this evening. After we finished up our 6 o'clock newscast, we've reached out to the Navy to figure out if it was a sonic boom from a jet. Both NAS Oceana and the Navy Auxiliary Landing Field Fentress are both in the areas where a lot of callers reported hearing that noise. There have been no major injuries reported at this point.
That's right. We have a crew headed to the Sandbridge area. From the Sandbridge area, we're hearing reports of EMS heading into that direction and the possibility of a fire in that area. But that's all unconfirmed at this point. The U.S. Geological Survey shows no earthquakes were recorded, and Dominion Energy's power outage map also shows no major outages.
This information is still coming in. We're working the phones on our assignment desk in our newsroom. Join us over on wavy.com for the latest updates on this story.
And we'll see you back here tonight at 10 and 11.
And it sounds like they broke in for that report as well, because they were saying it happened after their first broadcast, and then they were saying at the end, join us later. You know, that these things are happening, and it's just not one witness. It's multitudes of witnesses, hundreds of people. Like here in Mesa, Arizona on December 29th, just this past year, December 29th, 2020. Now, isn't that wild? Okay. Did I play everything? Let's see. Yep. No, I played that one. Yep. That's all the news reports I had, in which there are more. Like I said earlier, if you go on YouTube and just type in mysterious booms, there's tons of them from all over. A real interesting one was in India that I watched, and the lady was reporting on it. And same thing, contact the Air Force, anybody that flies jets, and they're all saying, nope, we're not flying today. They contact the geological folks that study, seismic activity. Nope, there's been no seismic activity. They contact meteorologists. Nope, there's been no weather activity. Now, could they be lying? Could they be covering up? That's always a possibility, especially when it comes to the military, you know. And here on the Gulf Coast, like one of the newscasters mentioned, we have stuff going on over the coast, over the Gulf, almost daily. We have 2 Air Force bases, at least 2 within an hour to east or west of us, and we have several airfields in the area that fly jets. So, but everybody denies it. So. It's just amazing that everybody's that's investigating this is coming across the same thing. You know, nobody knows what it is. They know what it sounds like. Now, James Fenimore Cooper in 1850 wrote, 1850, it is a sound resembling the explosion of a heavy piece of artillery that can be accounted for by none of the known laws of nature. The report is deep, hollow, distant, and imposing. The lake seems to speak to the surrounding hills, which send back the echoes of its voice in an accurate reply. No satisfactory theory has ever been broached to explain the noises. Interesting enough, this phenomena is heard all over the world, and most predate any form of artillery or modern aircraft that could create a sonic boom. In lakes, that was at Lake Seneca, New York, that James Fenimore Cooper was talking about the lake gun. And the Seneca booms, they've been called the Seneca guns. The sound would be named the Lake Gun after the writing of the story by James Fenimore Cooper. You've heard of him. He wrote The Last of the Mohicans. Now, while some claim that Cooper's story was political satire, he got the Native American lore correct. For at least 200 years, the booms were tied with a tree that was floating in the lake. It had been uprooted at some point. The roots remained below water, and the top above with just the right amount of balance that it stayed that way without sinking. And legend said that the tree was a chief that had tried to make the people greater than their gods. His punishment was to float in the lake for all eternity. Each time the tree would sit on the shore for too long, the Indians believed the gods would cause the booming sound to remind him to return to the water. Another early theory was that the lake had a deep chasm well below the water level that contained an air pocket, and when the pocket would suddenly fill with water, the sound would occur. It would continue for weeks as the pocket emptied again. But supposedly there's no chasm below the lake surface. A study revealed to the American Geological Society looked at the phenomena going back to 1990. The scientists attempted to match up the sound with known earthquakes, thunderstorms, sonic booms from planes, and other known events. Their answer? They don't know what's causing the sound, but believe that it must be atmospheric anomalies and not caused by anything earthbound. One theory they put forth claims that the sound is created by space rocks that hit the Earth's atmosphere so hard that they create an explosion that echoes off the Earth. Now, Heyoka, an old Sioux Indian legend, says that Heyoka is a clown god represented by, he's riding on a white horse that's covered in polka dots. He's best known for doing everything backwards. If it's cold outside, he'll strip down naked and complain how hot it is. If there's a famine, he'll tell everyone how full he is. The Sioux also place him as one of the gods of thunder and lightning. However, when he produces thunder and lightning, it comes from the ground and goes to the sky. Now, this is an ancient Indian legend from the Sioux. So it's interesting that in the modern era, we've learned that some cases lightning actually does come from the ground to the sky. In the Lakota tradition, he uses the wind like sticks to beat the drum of thunder. Now, how many of you ever heard of Lewis and Clark? Some of you, I'm sure. If you're watching, we'd appreciate a comment. Let us know where you're at and what your thoughts are on these mysterious booms. But I found something interesting. Meriwether Lewis of Lewis and Clark wrote this. Let's see, repeatedly. Well, he wrote it on July the 4th, 1805, that since their arrival at the Great Falls of the Missouri River on June 13th, they had, in his words, repeatedly witnessed a noise which proceeds from a direction a little to the north of west, as loud and resembling precisely the discharge of a piece of ordnance of 6 pounds at the distance of 3 miles. He must have heard that a few times to be able to be that precise. He goes on to say, I was informed of it by the men several times before I paid any attention to it, thinking it was thunder, and most probably which they had mistaken or thought it to be. At length, walking in the plains the other day, I heard this noise very distinctly. It was perfectly calm, clear, and not a cloud to be seen. I am at a loss to account for this phenomenon, he mused. But he reassured himself with the confidence of a true son of the age of enlightenment. I have no doubt, but if I had leisure, I could find from whence it issued. On July 11, Lewis recorded 2 more discharges of this unaccountable artillery of the Rocky Mountains. He recalled that the Pawnee and Arikara Indians far down the Missouri had mentioned just such a mysterious noise coming from the Black Hills in South Dakota. But he had paid no attention, supposing the rumor to either be false or the phantom of a superstitious imagination. The trader Jean Vallée, whose house is at the mouth of the Cheyenne River they visited the previous October, had also told them that near the river's sources in the Black Hills, a great noise is heard frequently. So this is not a new phenomenon. This was being heard long before there were jet planes breaking the sound barrier. William Clark summarized Lewis's notes on the matter. It is probable, he added, that the large river just above those great falls, which heads in the direction of the noise, has taken its name Medicine River, today is the Sun River, from this unaccountable rumbling sound, which, like all accountable things with the Indians of the Missouri, is called medicine. After the expedition ended, there was some more discussion about it between Clark and Nicholas Biddle, the editor of the history of the expedition. On December 20th, 1810, Clark wrote to Biddle, I think I mentioned having heard a rumbling noise at the falls of the Missouri, which was not accounted for, and you accounted for them by simulating them or comparing them to the avalanches of the Alps. Biddle must have had second thoughts about his own suggestion, however, for no such notion appeared in the history, which was published in 1814. Now, that information is from the lewis-clark.org website.